It is February 2nd, allegedly Groundhog Day. Although, from what I've heard, groundhogs have already pronounced that there will be 6 more weeks of winter or some such nonsense. So, whatever that means for you, there's 6 more weeks of it. Um, at I think it was our last meeting with um, we were joined by Chris Waver from Byte Power First Class magazine. We had an extensive conversation about what the actual name of the magazine was. It was Byte Power First Class magazine. And Chris archived all the magazine tapes that he had and uploaded them to a Google Drive for me, and I've since uploaded them to um, archive.org, and I'm working my way. I've indexed all the articles, working my way through attaching the actual file downloads to those. So we have a complete run of Byte Power, and one of the things that
Does
uh,
that include the paper issues?
no, not yet.
Okay.
Just the digital stuff. But it's been interesting going through doing screenshots because I get to see the programs and stuff. And one of the programs that they wrote was similar to Defender, maybe also Choplifter, in that you need to, move pieces around and move people, but the thing that you're flying looks like a Defender spaceship. Um, I think that was all written. That was written in BASIC, but compiled with Time Machine. There's a certain point in time in the production of the newsletter where programs are compiled with Time Machine. You can see because the first line is this REM statement with lots and lots of keywords in it and stuff.
And you
Uh,
can't get the basic program back out of that, right?
right, you can't reverse compile
Yeah.
it, as it were.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's some other stuff that he's uploaded, the print factory and its supporting programs. And I think it was the best of the business software that he also uploaded. There's a couple of other potential compilations. Um, but it's really nice. There's some really good stuff there. So if you're so inclined, look for Byte Power First Class magazine on the website under periodicals. And you should find it. And I think that's the only update I had. I can't recall if there were other things that were jumping out at me. Um, um, it's only February, but April is fast approaching, and I plan to go to VCF East in Wall, New Jersey, which is April 17th through the 19th, and I'll be showing off our stuff there. Take some computers and um, some newsletters, hopefully, that Tim is going to help me compile and show us off. Show that we're not a bunch of lonely nerds. Oh, wait a minute. Show that we're not owners of orphan computers. Um, Show that we are extremely cool people. How about that?
Excellent.
Oh,
I'm
okay. I
planning
do
on
have a.
going to VCF SoCal weekend after next. So
Oh, really?
February 14th and 15th in Orange. Very last minute. I didn't know it was coming up so quick. I have a seminar in Pismo on the 10th next week. I figured I'll just keep going south, see my friends and family, and then check out VCF SoCal.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay. There are multiple VCFs in California, right? I mean, there's SoCal, I think
Yeah,
West
there's another
has.
one in the Bay Area. There's one at the Vintage Computer, or sorry, the Computer History Museum in Mountain View.
Yeah,
That'll be
okay.
in August, I believe.
Hmm.
I also plan to attend that one. Um, in fact, maybe Tim might join me at that one since he's in the Bay Area.
He's in the Bay Area,
And
right?
anybody else that wants to make the trek, I think that would be cool. We could get some tables and do something.
And I think Jeff Coolman said he's going to do Southwest, which is in May in Fort Worth. So he'll,
Weren't the Albuquerque guys thinking about possibly doing that? Adam, is that accurate?
That's accurate. It depends on Ryan. He's the driver, so you know, I don't drive.
He's driving the bus.
Yep.
But we haven't actually gotten hotels or anything, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Ryan?
Nice.
I wonder.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Yeah, we should have talked about that yesterday when you were here, but
Um, Ryan, are you going to do sightseeing in Fort Worth as well, or Dallas, I guess?
A little bit, probably,
Yeah, yeah. All right.
because I guess the show is Friday, Saturday, I think.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So probably would see a few things Sunday morning, I'm
Cool.
thinking.
Take Adam to Luby's. I'm sure he'd enjoy it.
is this the place to eat? What is
Yes.
that? Okay. Or get a tune-up, it sounds like. One or the other.
We had Luby's here, but not
Oh,
anymore.
really?
Oh,
Oh,
mhm.
wow. Okay. Uh, well, Adam, Luby's is a buffet cafeteria style place where you go through and you pick stuff off.
Like a Furs or something?
I'm sorry.
Like a Furs?
I
Furs
don't know if that,
cafeteria?
I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
don't know a Furs
Maybe.
cafeteria?
I mean,
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
think about, high school cafeteria, but you have to pay for it, or you have to pay more.
Oh, okay.
Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
And grandparents, at least my
This
grandparents.
doesn't sound like a good thing. What are you telling me to go to this place for? Like,
All right, Adam, maybe take them to Angelo's instead in Fort Worth, which is a very decent barbecue place,
okay.
and you can get you can get like a schooner full of beer.
Oh, that sounds good.
Plus, barbecue, real Texas barbecue. So
Oh yeah, just go to like any old place.
it's true. That's true. Yeah. Um. Anyway. Okay. So I did have a request, and I just remembered what it was. I'm looking for um um advertisements for either the ZX80, the ZX81, the 1000, or the 2068. I don't recall if the 1500 ever got, like full page ads in um, magazines or whatever. But I'm looking because I want to build out pages that have those advertisements on them.
You're talking about from places like Popular Science
Yeah,
or something like
exactly.
that?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what you're talking about?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I
Yeah,
have
I remember the 2068 one like is in full page color and it says 72K of power or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I could swear I read somewhere that there was an ad in Omni magazine, but I have not been able to track it down.
Hmm.
I have, for instance, uh, you may remember the two-page yellow ads for the ZX81, and on the one side it's, here's the assembled machine model, and on the other side here's the kit. I think that those were in things like Popular Mechanics, but I've tracked some of those down. What I'm having a hard time finding is ads for the 1000 and for the 2068 um, computers. I mean, like I have some one pagers for the 2068, but I feel like there might be some more. Anyway, I'll send out to the email list the links to the pages that show what I have so far. And, if you happen to wake
I'm
up
sure,
in middle of
I'm
one
sure,
night,
Dave,
Carl,
I'm, I'm sure, David, you have, I think it's a 4-page spread, or maybe it's even 6-page for the 2068. They fold it out, and
the
and
little
it's at least 6 pages.
the little BC comic one.
Well, yeah, he's on there, but I mean, it was
Yeah.
a huge ad, man. It wasn't just one page. It was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was like 6 pages long. Yeah,
it was a whole like mini
right.
catalog that was stuck inside. Yep, got one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I'll add that to the page. That's a good point. I'll add that to the page of
That
uh
was in a magazine,
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it was this
like an insert, or what was it?
it was an insert, and
Hmm.
um I think they had like a tab that inserted the brochure, and you could safely detach the brochure without destroying it. Um, yeah, it's a nice little, like Carl said, 6, 8 pages or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
like
mini.
because I know it folded open. Yeah. Well, it's not mint. Well, I don't remember it being. It's pretty much the same size as the magazine,
Oh,
um, but they were full size pages. But they
okay.
were at least I'm saying 6, maybe it's even 8.
I'm wondering
But
if I
because I
am
think I
able.
see them advertised like on eBay, that
Yep,
big ad thing.
yep.
And that may be a place to look for some of these ads because people sell them on eBay for whatever reason.
Right. Let's see. I think I have that scanned and uploaded. Timex Computer Corp. Um, okay. Well, while I look for this, um, Carl, since you haven't been with us for a while, what have you been up to?
Work,
Oh no.
unfortunately. Yeah. I know that me and Ingo have been kind of, texting back and forth over the last month or so. I know he started to build the 1068 board for his Kilo Z. And, I have mine built, but then I was working on that expansion that I had made for the 1000. Um, and, the two boards sandwiched together with the sound and everything. And, but I'm running into the same problem I'm going to have on that same board is because the memory expansion is the same, right? It's using Oliger's ideas for M1 NOT and to get full 64K, expansion capability. And so I kind of threw in the whole kitchen sink there, but there's
That
problems with
doesn't
it.
sound like
So
you.
there's some problems with it that are gonna have to work through. Some of it does work, but some of it doesn't work. So I know Ingo was kind of messing around with it, trying to get it down to bare bones. I don't know, if he had any luck with that, but I don't think he did because he got work wrangled into work too. But
Yeah, I I think everything's working. I've been using my logic analyzer on my scope to kind of step through program execution and kind of see what's happening, what's not happening. And it looks like it's doing the RAM test at the very beginning of boot successfully. Uh, but like I told you in my last message, I'm still not getting the K cursor. I'm not getting video out. I'm seeing an NTSC video profile, but I'm not seeing anything but a white screen like you've observed so far as well. So I'm digging deeper into video generation and seeing what's going on there. But I think that as far as and just for everyone else's sake, even though Carl's design involves pretty much all the real significant community upgrades over the years, over the last few decades, um, I wanted to do a test and build it absolutely as minimal as possible. So just basically a bare bones CX81 with only the composite mod and obviously the extra memory on there, but trying to go to the like most minimal component count with the most minimal amount of upgrades. And then I want to see if I can get that working. Then I want to kind of implement the upgrades one at a time on the same board, and see that that actually works that way. And theoretically, it should. But right now, just trying to get a bare bones CX81 running on the new motherboard. And yeah, the only obstacle right now is video out. So I'm troubleshooting that. But like Carl, we both suffer from that four-letter word that starts with the W.
Mm.
And it's hard to do any tinkering when you're running all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
could do a little tinkering here and there, but I usually when I get into this, I spend hours on it. So, and I just,
same here.
I kind of try to I want to dedicate that kind of time to it. And I know with
Yeah.
work, I can't really dedicate it. So unfortunately, I don't even start to play with it because I know I'm gonna either cut into my work because I get onto a string on something on it, and then so I'm just kind of, let me set it aside, let me just do my work, and then when I get plenty of spare time, I'll jump on it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
other thing too with the video might be the M1 not circuit because that's in there too. But I mean, like it is all kind of compartmentalized, so I mean, other than yeah, it's a bigger memory chip, but still you can turn off all the extra memory, right? And you can just turn or just bypass the M1 not circuitry. So it's definitely doable to the point where you can not put these other extra pieces in there until you're ready. Let's get it working bare bones like you
Mhm.
mentioned, and then we can just start adding on these pieces, and that's definitely doable the way it's
Mhm.
built.
Yeah, I mean, on my previous YouTube video, one person commented on, like all these extra bells and whistles. Mainly, they were talking about the Westby, and having this ESP32 on there. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? I mean, if somebody just can't get their hands on a real original motherboard, or they don't want to butcher it, or they're afraid to take a soldering iron to an original board, then they can get this board, minimally populate it, and still have a ZX81 that's true to the original machine because it's using the same ULA, or the VLA, the CPLD version, but a real Z80 processor, a real Sinclair ROM, and that's it, right? It's the same true machine, and it's not emulation. So I think being able to prove that and making that possible for those that want, for the purists, right, that want just that. And then, later on, if you do want to add this mod or that mod, like the joysticks, or, you want the VGA output or whatever, or you want the Wi-Fi, file server, um, add it as you want, and everyone can do their own flavor of it. That's what's so cool about your board.
Yep.
Bro, you're on.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just have to clearly demark, what to do where when the time finally comes, Carl.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't intend the board to be built that way, but because but you never know what's going to come of your projects, right? Because once people start to know that that's available and they can build a new, well, not a, you're still using a ULA, right? And there, it's not like a Minstrel or a ZX38 or whatever the heck they call that thing, where it's all discrete,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So, but this is kind of more to, because the ULAs eventually are all going to die unless the machine just never gets used, then of course it'll live longer. But
So if you do it with discrete logic though, isn't it more like a ZX80?
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
more or
okay.
less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But
They
you
they
can
added
use
stuff. Go
you
ahead.
can use
Go ahead.
the ZX81 ROM, and then it's a ZX81. Then you have your fast mode, you have your extra functions, you have your better. Uh, it's not even better floating point. It's just actual floating point where they didn't have that in the ZX80, right? Is that
Yep.
one of the differences? Yeah.
It's a 4K, yeah, because it had a 4K ROM, and they went to a 8K ROM, which added the floating point stuff.
And
But
the
the other thing that kind of Stuart was mentioning to me is like, if you want to, you might want to do all this and get it into like a surface mount board, right? And then have it assembled for you. That way, you don't have to, the kind of reason I wanted to do it all through hole was from the hobbyist standpoint, right? It's easier to build through hole stuff than the challenges that some people have, doing surface mount. And yeah, I can make bigger surface mount chips, they don't have to be the tiny, tiny ones, but still, so it's surface mount, right? People still have a little hesitation or apprehension about doing surface mount stuff because it is easier to, mess the board up or, solder bridges and things like that, right? So,
Bridges
I
you
mean,
don't
it
even
would,
see without like a mic, they're impossible to see sometimes.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, so it could be something down the road where, yeah, maybe we make a surface mount version and have it assembled. That way, it's just all, it's a, turnkey kind of thing. It's once we get all the bugs worked out, and we know what to fix, then we can, maybe look at doing something like that. But again, this was kind of more just to kind of integrate as much of the, third party stuff that's out there to make this machine, as usable and as user friendly as possible in 2025, well, 2026 now, so.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're mentioning joysticks, who wants to hook up the ZX81 and play games on it without a joystick? I mean, you can if you really want to and use that crappy keyboard, but it's, you know, but then it's much easier to have a programmable joystick interface. It's already built in, yeah, it's a little extra software you got to run, but I mean, that's what the Wesp is kind of there for too, it kind of all fits together really nice.
Mhm. And speaking of the crappy keyboard, I just got another test print from Louis at 3D Keycap, and it looks sharp. You guys want to see it?
Yeah.
Here, take a look at that.
Let me make sure that
This screen is not accepting my money.
I mean, that's UV printed, guys. So
That's amazing.
no more water transfer decals.
You need a credit card swipe spot.
I know, right? So I already asked him about where the price breaks are for larger quantities. Now this is for a low profile key switch. I already made a PCB that will accept the Gatoron or Cherry MX low profile switches, and
Yeah.
then these keycaps will just snap right on. Um, and of course, this keyboard will fit right into a 3D printed Kilo Z case. So, but I mean, anybody that wants to spin up their own keyboard, they just need the keycaps to make it look sharp. Uh, you can do whatever you want as far as what's underneath it, but I plan to make it so that I'm going to offer a couple of different options and then maybe try and just do a bulk buy, I don't know if I would want to call that a Kickstarter or not, but I figure if enough of us are interested, place our orders, we can place one big order because the biggest cost with him is setup time.
Yeah.
And if he's going to print 5 sets or 10 sets or 50 sets or 100 sets, obviously the price per keycap set drops dramatically when you go up in quantity because then the labor part of it gets kind of stretched out over each keycap set. So, but I was really floored when he sent me that a couple of days ago. He had a little accident in his lab today. He was gonna try and print out a full keycap set. I wanted to show you guys a picture of a full set on his jig, but that I may not get that till tomorrow. So, but yeah, I will definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and just order 5 sets for now, just enough for me to play around with. But very soon here, I think I'll reach out to the group and anybody interested. We can just do a big group order and get a bunch of them.
That's crazy.
Looks really good. That
it turned out really nice. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
It's just
nice.
a slight variation on my original Inkscape file that I was using to print the water transfer decals with. I had to change some things around to make it where it works with. So he basically puts down the white layer, and then he can put down the red layer and then the gray layer. I decided to go with gray instead of doing the, crisscross black and white for the dithering. Um,
The
and
checkerboard.
yeah, I mean, it's not absolutely true to the original keycap legends or keyboard legends, but I don't know. I think, a little bit of artistic license here and there is still showing respect,
Well,
right?
I mean, at our age, our eyes can't even tell the difference.
That's what I was kind
Yeah,
of thinking. That's why I did it. That's the other reason I went with white, because the actual keycap or membrane legend is kind of a gray. It's not a true white. I wanted higher contrast for these aging eyes.
yeah,
And
you'd
how
be
easy would
lucky
it
if some.
be?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say some of us would be lucky to remember where the L print was.
And I was going to say, how easy would it be for him? Say like you wanted a white keycap, right? So it would kind of inverse those colors, right? So instead of you printing white, he'd have to print black. And
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
could
think the
it would so, and I mean the ones that people got before from WASD keyboards, I think was the name of the company. um, they weren't able to do white in this
Right.
way. And so there's a lot of keycap sets out there that are like, an off-white or a gray or, like a beige or a tan. And people use different colors for the keycap legends. My real battle here was to really get a black keycap with the white on it. And
Mhm.
it looks like we've made that happen. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Uh, the files that he uses on his UV printer, it just matters what toner he's putting into the tanks, right? For whatever color one, color two, color three is going to be, it doesn't matter. um, and then whatever keycaps he puts into the tray, right? His template tray, to line up all the faces. Um, you know, it's so yeah. I mean, you could conceivably do any combination, and then the fact that the Kilo Z case, you guys probably saw some of the ones that my brother printed out. Like he did one in the German flag, which is black, red, yellow. It's supposed to be black, red, gold, but black, red, yellow 3D printed cases. So you could print your case in any filament color you want, and then do keycap sets any way you want. There's no limit to the customization.
Hmm. That's really nifty.
Yeah,
Have you have you
very
thought
exciting.
have you thought or tried thinking about a design for a 2068 or Spectrum keys?
So definitely that is on the list. As soon as this is done, I would definitely like to do that. We kind of talked about it with Peyton a few meetings back, because he made that nice model of the 2068 case. And so with some modifications to the top cover, right, it could be made to use mechanical key switches. And I think probably the best solution would be to use low profile key switches in a new PCB that could be mounted into a modified top cover, right? I mean, that could be really nice.
Yeah.
We could definitely do that.
We just need Peyton to
Yeah,
finish his work.
it's just
Pardon?
We just need Peyton to finish his work.
eh,
I he's got to be done by now, man. He was moving on that thing.
No pressure,
No.
Peyton.
I made a little bit of progress and then got hung up on a few details and reworked them. But yeah, I mean, I've got essentially, I think, 3 or 4 more portholes to put in it, and then split the case in half, and then start designing the inside.
Nice, nice.
But we're
because the
getting
big
there.
thing too with the original 2068 keyboard, right, is it has that adhesive overlay, right? And so some of the key things are printed on that, right? They're not on the keys themselves. They're on that overlay. And so, I mean, squinching everything onto a keycap, I don't know. But, we'll have to see, because I mean, if it's a mechanical keyboard, you don't really have a choice, because you don't have an overlay that you're going to put on over that. So all the stuff would have to be on the keys themselves. So we'd have to see how that works out. But
One thing that's kind of nice with the low profile keycaps is that you've got quite a large surface area on the forward facing bevel. And from a printing point of view, it is extra work because you have to mount the keycaps in a jig first flat, right? So
mhm,
you're printing on the top, and then you got to transfer them all to a different jig that now spins them all
mhm,
enough to where that face is now flat across. But then what that allows you to do is to put extra, text legend or like ulterior extra functions or whatever. And I put everything on just the face because I was doing
mhm.
water transfer decals. And it works with this design, but conceivably you could make that top bigger and then take the function and put it on the bottom. But it does make for a more expensive keycap set. But now you
Right,
can make
right.
things bigger and get more stuff on the keycap. So there's things you can play around with, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of old computers did that too, right? They put things,
Mhm.
I'm thinking Commodore 64, they put stuff on
Yep.
the sides of the keys, instead
Right.
of just on the
Yep.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl, here's a JPEG of my custom keycap set. Oh, looks like I've reached the graphics limit. The custom
That
set,
looks pretty good. Yeah.
It does.
and this has every legend from the ones that are on the keys and as well as the ones that are on
The
the
overlay.
overlay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Uh, the single thing that it's missing, and I did not notice this until after I ordered the keycaps. Keys 5, 6, 7, and 8 are missing uh, the arrows to tell you which one is which.
That's
Mm.
just muscle memory, right?
I I don't know. I don't know because I
Well,
I
I was gonna say on here, right? The colors were an extra row on the top, right?
yep.
And so I'm wondering if you could do that with sort of an elongated sticker or whatever on the case itself,
Oh, sure.
perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
but
then those,
all the rest of the keys, like Q, the sine, cosine, tangent, etc. Those are all on the overlay above QWER. Uh, and it came out okay. I
Mhm.
mean, it looks better in real life than it looks um, on this
No,
thing.
that looks pretty awesome to me. That the
It does.
colors that you have on there, and of course you can add the arrows, like on the other side of the 5, on the other side of the 6. Keep everything the same, but
I
just
had room
add that
for
arrow in there. Yeah, yeah. Kind of
Just
like we have inverse video and true video on 3 and 4. Where those legends are, that would
where
be where
they,
the arrow
yep,
would be.
it's where it's supposed to
And
go.
Yeah. The problem I have, and it's not really a problem with this, is I have I put a link in the show notes a minute ago, for the one for the Spectrum, and it does something similar. And I can't read the keys. They're so freaking small. I'm constantly taking off these glasses, putting
Oh,
on my other glasses to be able to see what's on the keys. Because
yes.
on the real 2068, I can see it because the keys, they're larger and they only have what, three things on the keys? Yeah, three things on the keys, and then you have what's above, what's below.
Well,
So,
one
it,
could take this keyboard design
or
and
get new glasses. Like, I
and
could get
print it out
bifocals.
really large and just put it, on the wall,
Or is
behind
that
my
like
monitor.
Well,
you know,
also like Ingo was saying, we could put some, I mean, I don't see the thing anymore, but David, but I'm sure we could put some of the, especially the bottom legends on the bottom edge of the key, right? Like he would mention,
Mhm.
instead of actually on the face of the key. So that would
sure.
give us,
Yeah,
you
I
could,
think I think once you've got the bottom legend on the front of the
The front.
key, you now have basically the same content as the TS1000 key, right? I think, is that right,
Mhm.
Very
Ingo?
similar. Yeah.
Pretty
Um,
close. Yeah, it's
and
almost the
then
same.
and then for the like that top row, I think if you had like a strip that was not on the keys for the color part,
Hmm.
then that would relieve the that one extra burden on the top row, and because some of those symbols are pretty small as they wind up.
Yep. Very much so.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
much so.
I think you could definitely get creative with playing around with that and working something out. The other thing that's really cool too is, Loic's company, he doesn't just buy ready-made standard keycaps. He 3D prints custom keycaps.
Hmm.
So, you know, the the actual dimensions of the keycap don't have to be the same as the key switch. So you could conceivably do something that is a hybrid of the original keyboard where you've got space between the keys, right? Um, just throwing that out there, that's a possibility, right? So that your keyboard PCB with the switches comes in from the
What does Joe
bottom.
got there? Joe, can you
Oh,
show
hang
us your
on.
screen? Yeah.
Joe,
Can you highlight it? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for Joe. Where did you go?
Yeah, here.
There you are.
See if
Hang
I
on.
talk.
Yeah, Joe, you
That's
did
what
those. Those are 3D
that's what I
printed,
did.
right?
Oh
So yeah, those are
wow.
3D printed keycaps. And I just actually modeled them off of an old Xerox keyboard that just had flat key cap tops. They weren't beveled in any way. They were just big flat ones, and they had great big symbols on them.
That's
And
awesome.
so, I mean, you could do something like that. It's not great for touch typing, but neither was the chiclet keyboard, right?
Right.
But
Right.
they're much bigger. You have a whole lot more space on there, and you can easily fit a lot more stuff on there.
It really
I
But yeah,
think that part of
Nice.
that is that the space between is actually useful for that that feel.
oh
Um,
yeah, it's not a touch typing
so
keyboard, so yeah.
so
But if you want big,
a question to Ingo would be, when you were talking about the spaces in between with the custom keycaps, you were thinking like, oh, you would just make a smaller cap and then you'd have a surface you would print the rest on. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, and I think that, you could figure out, what point do you have like the right size keycap and the right spacing between the keycaps, because obviously you're restricted by the size of the key switches. So that's going to create a grid underneath. But you can even space those out depending on at what point are you stretching your fingers too much or too much of this, right? And I think you could get a geometry figured out where some of the legends don't have to be on the keycap, and you could put them in a grid around the keycaps, right? Or some combination of doing the front face and then putting the rest on the actual top of the keycap. Um, we'd have to play around with it. I've
Could
never
the
actually really considered it yet.
could does the print process have to print like if you had a stepped key, okay, and could you print on a horizontal step below, or does it have to be
Ooh, no, I
up
don't think you
top?
could.
Okay,
So the way that the UV printer works is it's basically like an inkjet. It'll float, I don't know, I think a millimeter to 1.5 millimeters above
okay.
the face of the keycap, and then it sprays the UV ink and then follows with the UV light for instant curing right after it sprays the ink down onto the plastic. So, you can get key switches or keycaps where the rows all have different profiles, so that you end up with kind of like your row one has one kind of profile, row two has another. But then you have to have a jig that aligns them all to where the faces are basically parallel, right? And all flat. And then that way, when the print head goes over it, right, it can have that spacing that it needs. If you had a step,
But you
you'd
could
always
print a
be in
step
a
on some of these
situation
UV.
where
You can
you
print a
can.
step on some of these UV printers.
How do you do that though without, I mean, if you're doing the bottom, if you're doing the lower face, how do you keep from interfering with the upper face?
You
Do
start
you
at the
actually
lower.
change?
It's flat. You print on it, and you then print the step. Some of the new UV printers, you can like create, quite deep patterns. I don't know what the printer is in this case, but there are some color 3D, stereolithography based printers that well, I guess they're not stereolithography, the UV printers that will do that.
Well, I just kind of want to, I just want to inject a little bit thing here is, we want to think about cost, right? So, I mean, if we can make this, because this isn't going to be, I don't think, a really high volume thing. So, I mean, if we can get it as, use as common parts as we can, to keep the cost down, right? So I think that's going to push us back into a regular keycap, right? Printing on the bottom edge. Maybe we could print on the sides of the keys. I don't know if that's possible. And like, especially for the colors, right? Maybe we can put that on the side of the key. I don't really know if that's too vertical I mean, of course, a jig could turn it however you wanted it to, but
Yeah.
I just don't know if it'll be readable. But
Right.
I'm just thinking, we got to think of cost here. So I mean, if we can kind of make it,
Mhm.
the initial design is as on a normal keycap as possible, and just see what we can come up with as far as readability and how big the font is, and I kind of alluding to what Adam was saying is, it probably wants to be readable, but the more you put on there, obviously the smaller things are going to get, so you can fit everything. But you know, I think these keycaps are bigger than, the chiclet keycap. So, I mean, we probably have more space to begin with just on a normal keycap, right? Because the chiclets are kind of, I think they're, I don't know. I haven't measured any, but I think a normal keycap actually has more space on it than what we have on the chiclet keyboard. So
Yes.
anyway, it's just going to be, um, like I said, try to start with as common a part as possible because it'll be the cheapest thing, right? We start 3D printing keycaps and, creating custom PCBs with spaces between, just gonna, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the demand, right? If there are enough
Yeah.
people in the community that go, "Oh my God, if I could have that, I'd pay this much for it," right? And
Now
there's enough people, it could
I'll
be
tell
worth
you
it.
one
But yeah, you're
thing.
right.
I'll tell you one thing. If we made it Spectrum, and maybe make like a smaller run of 2068 specific stuff, right? But which, I don't think there's a whole lot different between the 2068 and the Spectrum, other than some of the legends, right?
Yeah.
Because the
Mhm.
2068 changed, it added those commands and they took them away from the Spectrum. So I'm thinking if, I think
Yeah, you would
obviously the
just
Spectrum
do
market is
those
huge. Yeah,
as some extra keys, like alternate
right,
keys in a key set. And yeah, you could make your money selling into the Spectrum market.
right.
Yeah, especially if you could flip a software switch or something and have it change from a 2068 to a Spectrum and vice versa, right?
Well, like if, like the keys, the stickers we got, they were just Spectrum.
Yeah.
Where's that camera? There it is. Right. So, it's got the stuff. It's just, it's not the original coloring. Um, but yeah, that would be a thing too. Like, so I'm thinking like, yeah, you would have the set that, and then you would have a couple of extra keys you did that were the 28,
Well, look at
2068 alternate.
And look at that size of that keycap you just showed. I mean, there's a lot of
Well,
room on
here,
there.
here I'm setting. Well, I'm setting it up on the keyboard here. Let me flip it over, um, so we can have a look.
Yeah.
So, going back to the water transfer ones, I saw some guy that did a modernized Commodore 64 from scratch
Hmm.
a few weeks ago, and he actually finished the thing off by putting a resin layer on it. It actually
Mhm.
was indistinguishable at that point that you actually got
Mhm.
transfers on.
Yeah, I used to spray, matte finish clear varnish and did 3 or 4 really light, coats,
Yeah.
to because even if you use the microsol for the water transfer decal so that it really bonds with the keycap surface, you're bound to eventually get those to come off. And so putting extra protection on there, resin is a great idea because then now you've got a protective magic shell, right? I love that. The thing is with the water transfer decals though, you can only like if you're going to make a set for yourself, it's time consuming, it's hard to get perfect. And I think with the price point that I've got with 3D Keycap in Montreal, it makes a lot more sense to get these UV printed keycaps. But I mean, somebody might want to do the water transfer decal thing. I did it 3 times. I made 3 full sets that way.
Ingo, do you also have
Especially,
a model
especially
railroad?
if you, sorry,
Sorry.
especially if you print and then use something like a H2D to, registered kind of use it for the vinyl cutting feature to that, because then you can really do a nice job cutting those
Hmm.
exactly to the edge
Hmm.
of the key, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I had to do it with an X-Acto knife, and it was
oh gosh.
actually not even an X-Acto knife. I'm sorry, I used one of those, with
Steak
the
knives?
wire and the razor. Um, it was a Fiskars unit, where I could put my decal paper that was pre-printed and just kind of zip down and do the rows and
Oh,
then cut the columns.
like a
But
paper cutter,
still,
just basically a paper
but
cutter.
it
Yeah.
wasn't as
Mhm.
nice as doing it like what Chris just said. That would have been much nicer to actually have it cut out the profiles. That'd be much cleaner.
Hmm. Hmm.
What were you going to say, David?
I was going to ask if you had a model railroad
So I did when I
because
was a kid.
all the things that you're talking about in terms of decals and making
Mhm.
them lose that decal look that
Mhm.
it discussed
That's where I got.
extensively.
That's where I learned it. That's where I
Yep.
learned it. And I actually went and bought my. No, actually, sorry. I ended up buying them at. I bought them off Amazon, but there was a railroad store in Schenectady, New York, that I went into. They happened to be out of it, but I watched some YouTube videos
Hmm.
and a couple of modelers, and most of them were railroad guys, right? Model railroad guys that talked about this microsol that takes that decal and really softens it up
So it,
so that
yeah,
it absolutely takes shape to whatever it's on. So yeah, I mean, amazing work that these guys do, right? It gets so very realistic looking. It's mind blowing. But yeah, that's where I got the idea because I couldn't get the tops of my keycaps had like this kind of
yeah,
a roughened
elevated.
surface,
Hmm.
and it made it impossible for the decal to stay. No matter what I did, it always just peel off. It
Yeah.
was it was
Like after how
torturous.
long?
Oh, like just after a few hours of
Oh,
drying, they
oh.
just
Yeah.
start to lift, and there was nothing that I could do. And I was like, okay, well, there goes that idea. I was all excited because I found uh, water transfer decal paper that had a white backing to it rather than being clear because most of the stuff you get is clear, and that didn't work for the white field on the key switch label. So I finally found some that was white, and so I printed black around it, and then printed the red. And I thought this is awesome. I was so excited. Stuck them on there, and I put it in my first blog post. They
Mhm.
started lifting up, and I was just like, no, all
No,
that
you were like
work,
that.
right?
You were like the raccoon where the cotton candy disappears in the water. You seen that one?
Right, right.
Where did it go?
But
That's a good one.
I remember the microsol from reading Model Railroader and Railroad Model Craftsman.
Mhm.
That I can tell you those magazine names after all this time should tell you how much time I spent with those magazines.
Well, us AD
Yeah,
kids.
I wish I would have known that when I was building, model airplanes. I built a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
plastic model airplanes, and they all had decals, and
Yep.
if I would have known that then, my gosh, probably still be building model airplanes.
And then you wouldn't be on this meeting.
You'd be on the model airplane
Oh
soon.
God, that sucks. I like hanging out with you guys.
Hey Ryan, when are you going to show us that surprise?
Wait, what?
Oh, well, yeah, I did before the thing started a little bit.
Oh, you showed before, huh?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know.
but show the rest of the world, Ryan. Let me spotlight you.
Let's see. Try to get a better way to display it. We'll where is it? So we have the plastic hard case for a 1000. David, you can talk about
Yeah, so
what this was.
this was a, as you can see, it's a rotomolded plastic hard case. It either takes your 1000 or a 1500 and the RAM pack and the power supply
Oh,
and
it
the
does
manual.
both?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it does.
Yep.
That explains
The
the
space
shape.
over to the, yep. And if you can put cassettes in there too, like about 3 cassettes, I think. Um,
What are those?
exactly. There were only about 2000 of these made.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, see? Fits in
How do
there
you know how many were made? I mean, I don't doubt you, but
because of
man,
the ad that Timex had for it. This was only advertised in
The
Ramblings,
newsletter.
their
Yeah, the
newsletter,
newsletter.
right? And it
oh,
might
this
have
is an
only,
official Timex product?
yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
Right
okay.
here.
And it might have only been issues 4 and 5. Oh, 1083. That's the date you were talking about. The
Yep.
1083. Okay.
Dave,
Yeah.
this here in it says 2000 made
Yep.
right here.
Well, it says that there were only 2000 um,
Made
How much was it? I see there's a price,
available.
but I couldn't see it.
12.95.
12.95.
Yep.
It's for TS
Yeah,
1000 and 1500.
I might have
Actually,
paid more than that.
it's a Timex Computer Club price, 12.95.
Yeah. Yeah.
First come, first serve.
And then there's attachment for a strap.
Yeah. So you can carry it with you, Ryan. It's very
Yeah.
fashionable.
Wow.
I modeled it yesterday at the house
Yeah,
here, and
that would
as if
be
I was an executive.
Is that US
styling
only?
executive.
Yes.
I think that little thing on the side is so you can attach a single-ended handcuff to it, right?
No,
So that
no.
when you're walking around, you can,
Holder,
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
holder.
I could show you, but I have to kill you.
There's
Let's
some
see.
people typing only with their left hand now on their ZX81. That's it.
And
The
room for
replacement
special tapes,
ZX81.
too. That slot in the
So
back is
there's
for
a
tapes.
yeah.
But
And
if
then
it takes a 1500,
the ARC modulator can go here.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So you could put
but
a
if it,
Spectrum in there for sure.
I was going to say, if it takes a 1500, wouldn't it take a Spectrum?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I
Absolutely.
would show you, but I don't have mine.
Um,
But, Carl.
so I'm trying to, here we go.
But yeah, you're correct. The 1500 is
Looks
Yeah,
like
so it's
something
got a
somebody could model in 3D print. Oh, sorry.
The case, the
Yeah.
carrying case. I guess you could, sure. It
Uh-huh.
seems like it's got a textured outside.
yeah, it's a real rough
Yeah.
texture.
Don't let it get
Yeah, but
dusty because it'll be a pain in the
the
ass
new
to
the new
clean.
slicers will let you do that. You can actually add textures to your models and print
That
them.
furry thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Um,
could totally do that.
Yeah, because that's like I think you mentioned it, David. Like a blow molded case, and those things were freaking cheap as dirt to make
yeah,
for
the
those. For those.
rotomold. Yeah, or blow mold. Yeah. So here's
Yeah. Oh,
the little ad. This was in the last issue of Ramblings, number 5. And so in terms of the, only 2000, I'm going based on this, that,
Sure.
you know, that that they only have 2000 available to people. And this ad was not that successful because it showed up, I think, E. Arthur Brown and maybe some other folks had it for sale. Let me just here see if do I have
This would have been like the next year or 2 years later.
what do you mean?
In
The
terms of,
the,
you said when it showed
the
up for
ads?
sale later.
Uh yeah, it would have been the next year. I
The
thought
next
I
year.
thought I had an example, but this one is from where's this
Is it
from?
roto molded or blow molded?
I think
It
it's
was,
Rotomoto. What's the difference though? Do we know?
well, roto molded is the you have the mold and they pour in a resin or what have you and keep rotating it and it solidifies on the
Outside.
outside. Blow is like how they make bottles. Where they put something in the middle of it, it's hot, and they expand it out. I think it's probably
Chris,
blow.
Chris, I think you're right, and I think I have seen there's a show
It's
called
a
How It's
hollow
Made.
between the layers.
I've seen blow molding done on this How It's Made show, and I think you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah, they make like all those outdoor kids slides and all that kind of crap using that technique too. They can
Yeah.
make massive things very quickly and cheap.
Yeah. Well, that's what this was. Quick and cheap.
Have any of you guys got, I swear I've seen from years ago a case similar to that for the Spectrum that I think included a place for the printer also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe I'm imagining it.
That was a briefcase type.
That was the 1500 briefcase, I
No, I think
thought.
Chris is
No,
talking.
no.
Chris is
I
talking
think it
about
was
that.
something. I think it was something Sinclair came out with because I think it had room for the ZX printer. Uh, not the 2040 printer, but it was a ZX printer. I think it was a plastic. I don't think it was a case like that. I think it was more like a tray, right? And you could put all the parts into this tray. I think
Well, there was a tray that was used for a display in places like W.H. Smith's, but I think I recall it was a briefcase type thing. But it's not
okay.
the briefcase. It's not one of these guys, right?
Right,
It was
right.
something else.
Yeah, it's not the educational one. This is actually I think a Sinclair product, maybe.
I think you may be thinking of. Let's see if I can get this picture. Oh, really? Well, that website appears to be hacked. Um, can I get just a bigger version of the picture? No, I can't. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's on Facebook. Shoot. Um,
Got one in a zebra catalog.
yes, right. Zebra. That was one of the folks who bought the surplus. And then let me spotlight you, Ryan.
This is February 85.
Yep.
It's $10. Bargain.
Yeah.
Bargain.
Didn't
So
Stuart
bizarre.
bring one of those to the computer festival we went to? I thought he did. One of
I'm
them
sorry,
anyway.
did who?
I didn't notice it.
Stuart didn't bring one of those. I thought he had one on his
I think
table.
so. Yeah.
I brought my TS 1500 educational briefcase, it wasn't the one that you're talking about. It's the 1500, the educational thing.
Yeah, I had that on my table actually, but I think Stuart had brought one of the blow molded ones, or one of those, the ones that we're talking about here, the plastic
Yeah, I think
briefcase thing.
that's correct. I think Stuart had one. Oh, okay. I'm gonna share this. Chris, I think this is what. Does that look familiar, Chris? You're muted.
It
Chris,
looks like a briefcase though,
you're muted.
but
Yeah, it is a briefcase. And I remember seeing these ads in like CX computing. Although there was one, I think, in like Timex Sinclair user before we knew what the 2068 was going to look like, when it was still going to look sort of like um a
About
Spectrum.
2000.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was like this full page ad for that kind of briefcase for your 2068, which,
yeah, you're muted, Chris. I hear you. I see you talking, but you're not.
It's better when I'm on mute. I included for everyone else a link in chat for a different case
oh,
that's
look at that. That's interesting.
it's funky. That probably lasts like 3 months before it falls apart.
Data 5000, is that what it says? Interesting. I wonder where this one, man, that's really funky. You're not kidding.
There's
Yeah, that
some nice pictures of it. They actually did a
Let
good
me,
job here.
yeah, let me
that
just,
might have been what I was looking at, what I was thinking of. I thought it was a Sinclair thing, but obviously this is a third party.
here we go.
But exactly, it was built around the ZX printer, right? Instead of
Yeah, look
Right.
at that.
not the 2040
Printers,
printer.
tapes, a couple
There is
plastic
also a
trays.
tray that I think you were mentioning that they used for displaying the Sinclair stuff in places like WH Smith's.
Hmm.
Interesting. Oof, that silver
I
is
love
good
the name
gold.
of it though. It's like the Data 5000. Like, all
Yeah,
right.
Well,
Data 5000.
this is more a European style portfolio
Hmm.
thing than a briefcase.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
really nice. Oh,
I would say it's more of a European style piece of cheap crap. I come from Europe, and we had much better cases than that if you wanted to pay for them.
That's a missed opportunity nowadays because that'd be easy to put an LCD screen on that thing.
yeah. You
Couldn't
could
do
do all.
that back then because yeah, that didn't exist. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I
hell,
think
even in that briefcase that everybody has, that educational briefcase, there's plenty of room in the. Well, it holds the books, I guess, and shit like that. But I mean, you could put like a thin LCD screen on the top of it and have a portable system.
you could use a Sinclair TV in that one.
Yeah, yeah. Your perfect
Yeah, it'd be
portable
kind of
system.
hard to read 40 characters on a little screen like that.
You get a big Fresnel lens that you prop up.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't put out in the sun and catch everything on fire.
Just like in the movie Brazil. Hmm.
All I found in a Sinclair user was this one. I guess more for
That looks like a case. Yeah.
you
How
got
many of these things were made? I mean, were they that needed?
oh there were all kinds of little
Yeah,
holder things.
Yeah.
Like that one's
yeah.
got the little printout holder. You get you one of those things that you use for
I mean,
typing.
you can imagine people wanting them for like tape based copy parties, but they're going to go to their friend's house, their bedroom, and they're going to share the TV.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Old style LAN party.
Indeed. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I've seen cases like that for other stuff. Like there was somebody I knew had a Model 1 a TRS-80 Model 1, and the custom case for it was a cube. I mean, it was like a 2 foot on each edge cube, and it because it had its little TV in it. It had the thing, and I think that it had enough room for the expansion interface. And I just remember them bringing that thing over and thinking, what on earth possessed you to buy this box?
Oh, they brought it to your house?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It's very bizarre.
You said with the expansion interface?
I think so. I think there was enough room for the expansion interface. Of
Well,
course, this
at
was
that point, you'd also need a couple of floppy drives, and at that point, the things got to weigh,
4,000
I
pounds.
want to say like 30 pounds at least, with
Oh,
the metal
here's
cases and all of that on the
yeah.
floppy
here's
drives.
here's one in
Yeah.
sync.
That's that's why they
Timeworks.
Oh,
that's
that's
why they
the
didn't have gym memberships back then.
we didn't need them.
Comparing them.
Timeworks.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember seeing that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
actually,
They used to make software, didn't they? Timeworks?
yes, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim has one of those that he got from Bill. Shoot.
Well, so that is, I will say, the major problem with all of the Timex Sinclair slash Spectrum things is that when you go to set those up, and like a friend of mine whose dad was like really into woodwork actually built me a little stand with a Lazy Susan on top for the TV so that the cables that came out of the back or of the side of the unit could go around and like you could have the TV up a little bit because it was like a pain in the ass if you tried to put that thing on a desk to set it up in any way unless you had a lot of desk space. And so like the problem that that stand solves,
You're talking about which computer now? The Timex 1000?
the ZX 80, 81,
Okay.
1000,
Okay.
1500, and 2068.
Okay.
And like the desk, David, that I told you that we found that was
Yeah.
definitely for a 2068, even he built a small stand for the 2068, and he has a larger stand that you put on the desk for the television or the monitor or whatever,
Yeah.
um, to get those things out of the way off of the desk. And he has it angled so that you can type on the 2068. I have to figure out how to get you copies of the or pictures of that desk
I would
because
love
it's
to see
really
it.
cool. We have to redo the wiring on it. As soon as we redo the wiring on it, then I'll like have an actual display in my library for it. Um, but like that's the problem with these machines is if you put them on a desk, like typing is shit. Your wrists are gonna get killed by that.
Well,
Um,
typing is difficult whether they're on a desk or not, right? What do you like the keyboard? We've been talking about it the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but the 2068 though technically, I mean, I have touch type. I wrote college papers on mine.
Hmm.
I can tell you that like you could touch type on it.
Yeah, yeah. Ryan's
But
always telling me that
again,
whenever he's over here, and I'm like, shut up. Not to you, Mowgli. Not to you.
okay, I'll just tell you I did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young and stupid at the time, so I'm not going to claim any bit of genius there, but it was doable. But again, you're kind of risking some serious wrist problems if you try and do that.
Well,
And with like an interface on the back of it and then the TV sitting right there on the
Hmm.
desk, like
Right.
you're kind of looking at the wrong angle for the TV and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
well,
So
don't
like,
forget the keyboard for the 2068 came from a Brother typewriter. So, they use the same basic design. And a couple of those keys have the little dimples on them, the little bumps on them
yeah, yep,
to keep your fingers
th-
for touch typing.
right. So you know where the home row is
But
and where to put your fingers.
if you compare the height of the keyboard of the 2068 to the Commodore 64 to the Model 1 Trash 80, the Model 3 is lower, but it still might be a little high. Yeah, it's still a little higher. The Radio Shack color computer, the Apple II is is carpal tunnel in the making.
Oh,
Oh,
And
yeah.
the early Ataris too, right? The 400 and the 800 before they came out with
Oh my
the
God. Yeah,
1040,
yeah.
Yeah, but
right? Those were
those were
really
really game
high. I mean,
machines.
No, the 800's a really nice computer. Even the 800 XL and the 1200 XL have
David, I'm
higher.
trying to start a fight with somebody from Atari.
Yeah, okay.
I can show you. I
Okay,
got an
go on.
800 right here if you want to see it.
But there's a lot of, keyboards where the physical keyboard is higher and you have nothing to support yourself to get their hands. Um,
oh, there we go.
What do they have these things for?
Well, carpal tunnel back then was what the hell is that?
right,
Ooh,
right.
guitar effects pedals.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw those too. I
Oh,
spotted
yeah.
Brian's guitar pedals.
The best Atari keyboard was one of the 800 XLs. You had to make sure you got the right 800 XL because there was multiple manufacturers of the
Hmm.
key mechanisms.
Well, you know what Ryan was showing those computers, it does show like just he had like what 4 or 5 different keyboards there, and they were so different. And it like no one had any clue what the hell a keyboard should be like except from typewriters. And for some reason, the closest one there that he was showing was 800 was the closest to a real typewriter,
Yeah.
And
you know.
you can see the
IBM had a
evolution
pretty
of
good one for
arrow
a while.
keys.
In the early days.
Sorry, what was that, Paul?
IBM had a pretty good one in the early days. Had a curved surface.
Lamb?
It wasn't flat.
You talking about the
You
selector?
talking about the Model M?
No, I think
Yes,
he's talking about
Model M.
oh, the M?
Yeah, that's still one of my favorite keyboards. I have one in my shop.
You get
Yeah,
the
that
long floor or the
Atari,
short cord?
that Atari is like 2.25 inches up to that front edge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's because it's got to hold all that power in there, okay? That's power without the price.
Oh, yeah.
See, and
Has a
this will
65
The
illustrate.
800, right?
It has a 6502 in there. There's no power in that.
This is
Uh,
this is the same shape as an M
There you go.
to illustrate the curve. The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inner surface outside of the edges is curved.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
can see that
actually
there.
straighter.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the same design.
yeah, and I think the Model F, the entire surface
Yeah.
was actually curved. And I think with the Model M, which came later,
I mean,
from IBM, they
Yeah,
did
is
the,
that
sort of
the
an internal.
this is the
Chris, is that the
Keytronic.
65XE or something?
this one is a 65XC.
Yeah.
But if you want,
Those
They-
keyboards are nasty to type on, not because of the
They
way the
are,
shape,
that's
but like
why I
they're
was
so
saying the 800
soft.
was
They're
bad.
awful.
Yeah,
They were cheap.
this
They
one's
were
not
cheap.
quite as profiled. But what a nice keyboard.
And this, and then the XLs. I think this is Chalco keys.
But that's
Actually,
different than what mine 800 XL keyboard
That's
looks
a
like.
600.
well, this is a 600
Oh,
prototype.
That's
This is not
yeah,
even.
prototype. Oh, well, there you are.
But I mean, I could pull a real 600 off the shelf too.
Yeah.
But
Well, I have a
basically-
600 as well.
Yeah.
But the keys are not flat like that. So
Well, as I say, this is from This is actually a case prototype.
okay.
It's not the actual main board. But yeah, well, hold on.
That auto follow camera is crazy.
It's not much. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit
yeah,
different.
it's a little
There's
weird
a
the way
little
the
bit more
camera
kick
keeps
to it.
wandering around.
Yeah, it tries to keep you in focus. Maybe it's a poly camera. I don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty wild.
iPads do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, I mean, and you can't beat the ZX80 for a low profile keyboard.
It doesn't get any
know-
lower. That's true.
You know what Bill Hood said about the one redeeming quality of the ZX81 was, right?
Mm-mm.
He said he made a great door wedge.
Yeah.
Oh, of course he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that. It depends on how much space you have under your doors.
Well, it depends if the feet are still on the bottom of it.
Right? Because otherwise,
It's just going to slide
it's just
if it
gonna
doesn't have
slide.
feet. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's got to kick it in there.
You'll
I was
probably
gonna
break.
say if you wedge it in there hard enough, it'll work.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm with you,
You-
Adam. I got you. I got you.
Just don't use a ZX80 because it'll just crack.
yeah, that case was like they made that out of like cereal boxes.
Chris, that sounds like you actually did it.
No, I have two variants of a ZX80, and neither of the cases are in perfect condition. You just look at them and they shatter.
Yeah. It's not a robust plastic.
No.
Yeah, whatever
I
it
mean,
was.
that's vacuum formed case, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who does that other than kids in high school? I mean,
Hey, but it probably cost them, 2 pence for both sides of the case for that thing.
yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
were figuring shit. I mean, you compare it to the Mark. I mean, this didn't even have a case, right?
Right.
Is that the 14? Is that something like that?
Yeah, it's the 14.
That's the true hobbyist stuff there, man. You just stuck some big fat rubber feet on the bottom of the PCB and call it a day.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
That's part of the allure is all the circuitry exposed, eh? Because then you can, hey, I wonder if the chip's running hot, and you can just put your back of your finger on it. Oh, okay, it's pretty cool.
Right.
Fill a Pepsi on it.
Here's your Model M.
Yeah, I have one of those. They are so nice.
Those are the ones that are clickety clack. They're
Oh, yeah.
like really, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Oh, yeah.
gonna talk to Ingo about
Designed to
buckling
irritate
spring.
your
The buckling spring patent.
Well, those are capacitive keyboards, the original IBM ones
Or are
Were
they?
for the PC. Yeah, they use capacitive. They're capacitive keyboards. They don't use a switch. I mean, there's a spring in there. That's what makes it clicky clicky, but they use like capacitive displacement.
Didn't the Lisa do that too?
It's possible. I mean, those
thought that
keyboards kind of weighed away. They weighed quite a bit too.
I thought the buckling spring tipped over a little lever that was the switch.
Well, I mean, maybe later.
And then that hits the little bubble switch, right? Like on a PCB.
No,
maybe
it
later they
was-
might have went.
It
I know
was
original
strictly
ones were capacitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original ones were capacitive.
Yep.
Oh.
I've torn down and rebuilt many of them. And the actual little part that flips up and down was made out of a plastic that was impregnated with some metallic element, and they weren't conductive at all. But they did have they did change the
So maybe the
capacitance
one I
between
have.
two plates.
Maybe
I can
later
tell you about an
models,
oddity
yeah.
in the keyboard market. The first time I built a keyboard, a larger keyboard, I was in a surplus store and found this big, heavy keyboard for something. I don't know what it was. But each key was discreetly cabled out in a bundle,
Oh boy.
in a big fat cable out the back end of the box. The keys themselves, miniature read relay.
Yeah.
And the plunger for the key travel was the magnet. It was magnet, and that would activate the read relay, the read switch. Of course, no bounce.
Carl,
Mhm.
how did the capacitive keys work?
I would imagine they had to be powered.
No, Carl.
Well, there was a
Or Jeff?
there was a separate chip that was specifically made for the capacitive keyboards that basically just it was an analog chip, right?
Yeah.
And it sent out pulses, and it would receive back the change in capacitance from what the open condition was to the closed condition. It was basically going out there and reading the capacitance of each of the lines. And it knew the difference between the open and the closed. And it would scan just like a normal keyboard. It would do the scanning,
Yeah.
as far as I remember. But it was, just like a capacitance checker circuit now, it would send a frequency down the line and get a different one back, depending on
And,
whether it was open or closed.
and so you would
Hmm.
have like two pieces of metallized
You'd have
pylon.
a circuit board with two contacts on it, and
Okay.
then just like a touch sensitive thing now that changes the capacitance, right? When those on the circuit board, there were two kind of oval pads,
Yeah.
and when that metallicized plastic thing was laying on top of them, the capacitance, I think it went down when it
Okay.
was touching, right?
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, there was nothing that was electrically conductive in there other than the circuit board.
Yeah, I kind of would think of it more like a like a tunable capacitor, like a what am I trying to think? A trimmer cap, like that's capacitive,
Yes.
Yeah,
right? So I mean, as you push the key down, you're like changing the tune of that cap, right? Because you're changing, I don't think you're actually putting a metal like Joe's kind of mentioning. I think it's just more
yeah,
maybe this disc would change the capacitance by its deflection. But I mean, you kind of got to figure it's the same kind of idea, right? Where you're putting more or less metal into two dielectrics and changing the capacitance of it, right?
yeah. It,
Okay.
it works like the Fullman foil keyboard, because
Yeah.
you can operate a Fullman foil keyboard with anti-static plastic. So I mean, that's one of the things I used to clean and test on the foam and foil keyboards, was if I could take a piece of anti-static bag and put it on my finger, then I could run around and touch the keys and make sure they all worked before I put it all back together.
Yeah. And I think that's why those keyboards are so reliable, is because they're capacitive, right? They don't use physical contacts.
Okay.
Right,
Now we use Hall effect sensors for.
right, for everything.
According to the great ChatGPT, that it was an RC circuit that they
Yeah,
used.
Makes sense. Interesting.
but
Okay.
I do remember everything was like in one big chip, and there was very few discrete components around it. Uh, Everything was in one big analog chip.
Didn't it also mean that you didn't need like the same classic like matrix? Because you could play a similar trick by having you could have a switch with a different size resistor for a switch and simplify the general wiring of the keyboard, right? By measuring different resistance per key.
Yeah,
Were they doing the same trick there that kind of it minimizes the complexity of the the board wiring on the key the PCB for the keyboard? Does that make sense as a question?
yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it seemed like it was a pretty complex matrix when I looked at the
Yeah.
boards themselves. They weren't simplified like a modern, well,
Yeah.
I say modern, but VCR controls where you had six buttons and each one of them was connected to a different value resistor that would go into a little microprocessor that would measure the resistance. But it was just two wires going to all the switches basically, and it would just measure resistance. It wasn't like that. It was an actual matrix.
Yeah, I think the original IBM keyboard, yeah, it was an
Yeah,
expensive keyboard, and it wasn't simplified in any way.
Mhm.
right. Yeah, the original compacts used the foam and foil as well, and it was a complex thing. And that chip I remember was really static sensitive. So if you were working on them, you had to be really careful.
Interesting. Okay. I once took apart a terminal that had uh that kind of mechanism where the circuit board was the keyboard circuit board was the the Matrix and had the little, you know, little circular designs, and then the keys themselves had foam and foil on
Mhm.
the backside, so you press down and okay, so that was capacitance. Interesting. All right.
I have a little quick question for Ingo, maybe, or anybody. I was just playing around with I laid these keys on the top of my 2068 keyboard, and it occurred to me that I wonder. Oh, where is it? There it is. Could you 3D print a little guy that snugly slipped over there, but had a little
Oh, an adapter.
cherry stem on it, and you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
pop
yeah.
these on there?
Oh,
Yeah, you probably could.
I mean, how
How
much do you
far
hate
how
yourself?
far do the how far do the if you look at it from the side, when you push the key down, how far down does it go?
Yeah,
Because
it
that
goes
might
Not
be
down
the
pretty
problem.
far. You wouldn't have much
Yeah,
to adhere to unless you glued them right to that keycap of the
Exactly.
chiclet key.
yeah.
Well, if you
Yeah,
had a
you'd
thing
probably
in
have to
there,
use some kind of adhesive.
this is sitting right on it. So if you had something, this would stick up a little bit farther, and
Right.
then
But
I was
what
just
then
if
wondering,
you
like,
were
does it still
to
have something to grab onto when you push it in?
but what if you tried a different approach? I think this is an interesting idea. I mean, you must have seen techniques where out of a single sheet you get some amount of like mechanical spring. You could
Mhm.
imagine 3D printing a whole
An overlay.
overlay and
Yeah.
basically you could park the button on top of it and it would spring up and down over it.
Yeah, you might be able to print something like that in one go with like
Yeah,
the
but you already have a keyboard that works
H2.
there. I don't quite understand why you'd put these other keys on top of it to begin with.
Because
Like,
self-flagellation is very
okay,
messy.
okay. Like,
I mean,
well,
Because
it
you
would
can.
okay,
it
all right.
wouldn't. But my point here is the key spacing. If you didn't notice when you saw it, well, the key spacing is
Looks,
standard.
it is.
yep,
It
it
is.
Okay,
looks like it.
it is exactly standard. Okay, and so it's not, you know, if I did such a thing, I'd have something that would basically, I mean, yeah, I don't know which profile these are, but um, they're not the lowest. But I like those anyway. But the point is if I just went and put that replacement mechanical keyboard in here, it would be very similar to that. I mean, yeah, the
Mhm.
key feel obviously is the original key feel in terms of the springiness, but it would just be kind of a simpler thing to have a different key taps. And yeah, you would have to, but if we could have some nice keycaps, I wouldn't want to trade these stickered things for, you know,
Mhm.
because I was also going to point out the lettering on these, even though the surface area of the key is bigger, is still smaller than the print on these smaller chiclet keys.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
so that's what makes that even though this is a bigger area that we could put more on, these stickers are made to fit on there. And so the print winds up so small, it's and this dark green on the black is really
Very difficult.
invisible.
Yeah.
Or
Like I
even
said,
one of the smaller red marks are hard to see too.
how can I
What do you
get
got?
this?
Oh, you've got the typewriter?
Yeah, so
Well,
this is where they got the keys from.
This is my cloak of invisibility.
Yeah, it's I don't know how to,
You got to hold it in front of your chest. There you go. Yeah.
the EP20. These
Yeah.
keys, I'm kind of looking at it now, they're more square. I think the 2068s are actually
Yeah,
more
they're
rectangular.
mhm.
But these are
yeah,
the
they had
same,
different shapes.
these are the same. This is where they got the keyboard idea from for the 2068 was this thing.
And you happen
So,
to have that because you're a Timex fan? Is that why you have that?
yep, that's why I got it
Okay,
Yeah.
because
I'm just checking.
I wanted to get this. I don't even know if it works, man.
It's the only reason to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's see if I can bring this up. iPhone camera. Let's see if this works. Uh, okay. I don't know.
You didn't have to turn off your background,
I need to
David.
turn off
I've
my
done that
background.
before.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Adjust background effects, none. There we go. Okay, so
There you go. Yeah.
here's a 2068 with the revision of the keyboard that I need to modify because if you see here, the shift key is shifted down in order to fit into this space. And so I did the same thing over here. But anyway, the point being is that's about how much room you have inside there. The module that came out of here, the 2068 keyboard module, takes up all of that space, goes all the way, into these corners. Um, and these are low profile key
Mhm.
switches and keycaps. Anyway,
I think there's a lot of room on those keycap. I mean, like I said, if Ingo can, massage it so that we can try to get to 2068, all the legends on there. I think there's
Yeah.
there's going to be more room than we think.
Mhm. Definitely a worthwhile project, I think. I think
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
makes sense.
especially on the 3 rows. The top row, you have the colors, right? So that's an extra thing, but you could put those on like you said, on that front face of the key, right? Instead of actually onto the top of the keycap, and then that way you get your
Wait,
colors. But
David, can you show that again with the cutout? I'd like to see that one more time.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second. My phone camera. Let me turn off my.
I mean, once this is on YouTube, I can just rewind back. But yeah, so not a lot
you
of
got to
room
highlight,
above there.
you got to
But
highlight
I was gonna
yourself.
say, like when I did the keyboard for the Kilo Z, we actually 3D printed a bezel that goes around the actual key switches, right? So
Why
that
is
it
it not
fills in that
focused?
space. You don't see the PCB. That could be utilized too for maybe that top legend with the colors,
Yeah.
just for
Well,
that
see
top
here,
row.
here you would have the space, so you could actually make an
Yeah.
overlay here, right? You can make an
Mhm.
overlay that would cover all the extra space that you see. But there's actually
Mhm.
room above those top keys for that overlay, because it's got
Yep.
to stick.
Yeah.
It's
Here,
got
let
to
me put
stick
the.
onto the case.
Here's the.
Yeah.
Oh
Here's
yeah, there you
the
go. Yep.
whatever
Yep.
overlay, as it were.
And did you intentionally add extra space between the key switches? Because it looks like you've got maybe a good millimeter or more in between the rows and columns.
No, this is standard.
Oh, it is standard.
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, it's out of
Yeah, that's why
focus.
I
I don't know
say,
why my phone won't focus on it. But yeah, no, that's as
Oh, thanks
I
for sharing.
yeah.
yeah, that's why I think there's a lot, there's a lot of real estate on those keycaps. So I think we'll probably be okay. Like I said, it's just the colors on that top row. That's another extra thing, but I do like what David showed earlier, with it all on there too. But so that could still happen. It's just, definitely want to get the type of all the commands, the font big enough, so it's not like what the hell.
Yeah.
Well,
You can kind of see it from a reasonable distance.
that's what I was saying is that if you printed the uh, bottom row on the case keywords on the front of the keys, then other than the color row at the top, you would have about, I think, the same number of symbols as Ingo's CX81 key that he showed. You have main keyword, the above keyword, the symbol, and the letter, which he
Hmm.
fit nicely on there. And then the 2068, you've got the bottom keyword, and then if you put that on the front of the key, and then I think if you also on the top row put the colors on something that was not on the keys themselves, then all of those could be similarly sized.
Well, I'm looking at the ZX81 keyboard here, the actual keyboard,
Yeah,
and
the little sticker.
like each Well, this is the membrane that sticks on there. These are the ones I got from Stewart that are actually American ones. They have the enter and the delete for the TS1000, but they can't really get these, right? Because nobody makes them with those enter and delete. But
But
anyway, the
see,
key, huh?
the way the
I don't,
way those are printed is that the
well,
keyword
but
that's
look,
above is the main keyword that's on the top of the 2068 or Spectrum.
that's what I'm saying. So there's five, well, there's five things to me on each key, except for the top row. It doesn't have a top and bottom. There's no keywords on the top row, right? So I think he was doing the arc sign or the S. I think you were doing L print, right? So that's the worst case. So you have save, RCOS, you have L print, you have the S itself, and then you have the graphic symbol. So, I mean, if all that fit on there and it looked that good, this 2068's no different on those keys. You have an upper, you have a lower, and I think they just have the three things on each key, and I think one of them is kind of not backlit, but it's inverse on the text,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have a 2068 in front of me right now, but
Well,
Yeah, I think you're
I
right.
think my point is there's going to be enough space. We just got to give it the college try and give it a shot. I think even for like I said, the top row, you could probably put the colors on the front face of the key. Um, or maybe there might be enough room to just put it all on the face of the key. But I guess we have to let Ingo kind of, yeah. So if you look at the same key on the 2068, the S key, which
Let me get this to
can't
focus.
really get a focus there, but
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. How you I don't know what I need to do to make my because I got nothing on the front side of the screen, so it's hard for me to do anything. But yeah, I mean you can to your point, Carl, those colors are and what you were saying, Ryan, those colors are just extra
right.
real. You've got everything on the regular key, the edit, the one, the graphic, the exclamation mark, and what's this thing? Def FN, which Ryan used.
I think we are picking on this a lot, but I think that they did a great job with with what they did and for their cost. I mean, like, I
Mhm.
mean, I know people pick on the layout and like I can't type on this. Someone who's never used it, all they got to do is use it for a little bit, and then they can type. It's just
Yeah,
like any keyboard. If you've never typed before, you're not going to be able to type.
yeah,
Also, the great news is if you don't like it, you just have to blame Brother instead because they stole that design.
yeah. Right, brother's fault.
Yes, they're okay. Thank you,
Um,
Chris.
and I don't know if y'all remember Gary Grimes, who designed this case.
Hmm.
He laid out the keys, the legends on the keys and around them using Letraset, which was this sheets of letters. It's this sort of heavy plastic, I think maybe Mylar-ish sheet, and you had to like use this little burnishing tool to rub the letters in. And he said
yeah,
when he told us about this, he said that there's like a cracked letter or some kind of mistake that made it all the way through to production. Like he sent off his um his keyboard that he had made, the model, thinking that there would be a round of of revisions in the process. And no, they just took the model and made.
yeah. Remember, you're working for Sinclair.
Oh, it was Timex, but yeah, basically the same
Timex.
thing. Yes.
Oh, Timex. Sorry.
Still cheap. Yeah. Trying to be cheap. I have not yet found it, but then again, I have not, like gone over the thing with a fine-tooth comb. So
Is
Well, maybe
that
were there several well, I guess there wasn't time for revisions really, was there?
no, no, there were not, was not. Although his
Well, at
work,
least
go ahead. I was gonna say his work was done on this was done by March, April.
Of 83?
Yeah, yeah. So they knew what case that they were fitting in and stuff. Yeah. Um, Adam, you asked for a TS Pico update. Uh, uh, Ryan and Ricardo are swatting final bugs, and we are within. Ryan, what do you think? 2 weeks of having something that we can start
I'm
testing?
But you already are testing. Don't say that. You've been testing all this time.
well, okay.
Well,
So
there's a difference.
there's developer testing where I've been doing. I put the stuff on there
Yep.
manually. And in my testing, I've made a couple of tiny revisions, so I need to finish up that testing to get that revised with just a few changes. Python file back to Ricardo so he can update the firmware that he made of the of the of the latest that a little while back that we're testing now. And then there's the stage where you build the update package that the user would be using.
Right.
But yeah, so I've been testing that all the regular functionality is working. The other
And
testing,
as you said in that, well, I guess it was to the TS Pico group, but as you said, every single time you come over here to show me how things are going, you're always like, shit, it broke.
well, it's stuff I don't expect to be broken.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it shouldn't be broken.
And it's
And
like, do you have some paper? I need to write this stuff down.
so it's like, well, a couple things. It was like I forgot, and it wasn't actually a thing because I just couldn't remember. And then we happened to pick the right doc file
Hmm.
of all the ones that I would test and stuff, and the one that's having a problem, a very particular problem. And so, yeah, I don't know.
But that kind of issue like that we
That
ran into isn't going to keep the release from coming out, right? Because there's so many new things that have, I mean, are you trying to get it perfect or are we going to have a release soon?
Uh,
Well, it's just that if I encounter something like that, the problem is it's like, okay, did that break a lot of other stuff? Is a lot of other
Mm.
stuff broken or not? So you have to kind of run it down to see what it is. We may not be able to fix it, but if it's just like a particular file, we'll just have to say, okay, I know that, but it's not a systemic issue, right?
right,
So
right.
I just keep running into these things.
Okay.
Ryan keeps
Right.
finding them. He has a nose for it. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Um,
So
yeah. Yeah,
That's what
and
I
then,
was saying is you guys are trying to come out with a 1.0 release, right? Not a beta release, but a real final release. Well, not final, but nothing's final, but a 1.0 release.
yeah, yeah, something that's solid, stable, as few bugs as possible. Um, what Ryan is alluding to is a doc file that I didn't realize until he brought it up was not an official Timex dock cartridge release. So there were like 11 cartridges that Timex announced. Only seven got made. And someone in the course of time between 1984 and, today, uh, filled in the other four and has made, doc files that will run in Fuse and some of the other emulators for these other four programs. But, how they made them and what they made them from is a total mystery to me. And
Well,
uh,
those games were released on cassette,
cassette,
so yeah.
but the
yeah,
difference between
but
cassette and go ahead, Brian.
in this case, though, I think Ricardo confirmed that it's working in the flash. So I think
Working in the flash, which is a bizarre problem. Yeah,
I think it's something in the low. That's why I was more worried. I think because I figured that would be the case because we had that issue before with something I can't remember now, but and it may just be we had to do a little something different loading into the SRAM.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you thought,
so
Ryan, that all your cartridge woes would be done when you got done with the ZX81 stuff. That was just a precursor, man. That kind of helped
yeah,
you.
but I want to try to get this. I don't know. I guess we could have had that be more of a beta feature, but it was sort of like the feature, and then it got kind of roped into um, what would have been maybe to me like a 1.1 update that didn't have it, but it wound up being part of that, and so um, things got a little protracted, and so it's like, well, okay, it was not working well. Primarily, that was because in development, I don't have as much free memory available, and that was really affecting the loading.
Yeah.
And so we rejiggered it so that wasn't a problem, because it was very difficult to test, because you didn't know, like, well, is it because I ran out of memory, or is it because there's an actual problem? And so the only thing is, though, that I think it, within reason, obviously there are doc files that can be unusual, because there's the format allows for it. But I think just because the thing wasn't an official release, if we're going to stick to official Timex released cartridges, there's not enough to even bother having coded the feature in the first place.
Mm-mm.
You know, so I think that if we keep trying at it, we can make it work. Now, granted, you're not going to support all, wacky things, but we can actually do more, especially in the future. All we're doing now is saying, okay, here's these ones. They were primarily like an XROM. Well, I mean, I get not XROM. I keep saying XROM. That's wrong. Doc Bank, ROM, and you know, what was the one, Adam? We did. It was the Scion. What's the name of that one?
Scion. Flight Simulator?
Oh, the backgammon?
Was it Backgammon?
Yeah, backgammon worked.
What's the one? I forget which one we loaded.
It was backgammon. The one that worked, you mean? Because you
But
tried
remember,
that
I
one.
showed you the one that I'll have to go back over. I just can't remember right now. I didn't write it down. I remember it's like a Scion game. Do you
It,
know,
it,
David?
it was backgammon. It was on cartridge.
Was it Backgammon?
Yeah.
I'll try it.
I mean, that's the only
But
other
that
cartridge
was
we tried besides
okay,
Penetrator.
because one of them I thought where I showed you that it instantly loads it. Like if
Right.
you hit
And it was because it was a Spectrum game, you said.
oh no,
And so
that
you
one I
thought
don't know.
so you thought
No, I
so
don't
you
know
thought
that
maybe it
one.
had a Spectrum ROM. If we're talking about the same thing, it was
Oh, I
backgammon.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if David, you remember I was saying how some of those doc files, when you hit reset, they don't do the LROS AROS check.
So when you
And
hit the
I
D
was
key, we're in too deep
Yeah,
here.
that does
well,
sound
This
like
might be,
weeds.
yeah.
but it was just the thought I had then was, oh, did that thing load a Spectrum ROM as well? Or I say load, but I mean, tell the bank I'm also replacing the home ROM, and that's what's bypassing everything. I don't know if that could work. We'll have to ask um, Ricardo if that's a possibility. But anyway, there's some that are kind of cobbled together. Like I think the Manic Miner is just a memory dump, and then they pasted a LROS header on it.
Okay.
So that when it fires up, it sees that, and then jumps to the right location. And works, and it works. It's just that, so I think a lot of these can work. I think the problem with the penetrator one is maybe more of an indicator of something we don't have quite right.
Well,
Right.
what was so interesting and unusual about it was it wasn't that it didn't work. It starts working,
Oh yeah,
and it has
that
like
was
the
what.
fireworks going off and everything. And then when it goes to draw the title screen, it kind of goes a little mad and draws a weird title screen. And so you thought you had a corrupt ROM, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense because why else would it do that if it's like
Right.
partially working?
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
we'll
it
have to
turned out
figure
you
it out.
didn't. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the file. So,
Sorry.
but
This
anyway,
is
Hey,
that kind
Gustavo.
of gets. This is the thing, is as soon as that happens, me trying to demonstrate it to Adam, it just goes off the rails because
Right.
of the problem, and I can't actually show all the good stuff anymore
Well,
that we
maybe
got going
you know
on.
what? I'm detecting a common thread here.
Don't come to my house anymore. That's
And the common thread is Adam.
no, that's only a comment. If you have a DCK image of the cartridge and inside the image you have a 48K of dump in memory, you override the TSPICO system variables and maybe the load process hangs. That could be that happen because it's not a valid cartridge. It's a copy of the RAM image and put in a emulator and copy the block as in a DCK image. And sometimes you set the RAM as a valid bank memory. That is not this normal cartridge. Normal cartridge are ROM and located on the 32768 if arrows or LROS at the start of the address zero. That is the specs from Timex. That's
Right.
why maybe wrong image or bad image of DCK created is not compatible with this. But the problem is the DCK image is not the machine.
Either way,
I guess
to Ryan's point, we're trying to make it adaptable to even the ones that are not official cartridges and run them properly.
But the other thing too with the LROS, AROS stuff, at least Timex made a specification for that. So, all third party people were supposed to kind of adhere to that. And, I guess my point is when we kind of did this with the 1000, the Timex never got around to that. I think they were probably going to,
Mhm.
but they never made any kind of cartridge specification for the 1000 like they did for the 2068, obviously.
Never published a spec for 1510.
No, we have
Nope.
not seen those yet.
I think those
Strange.
were just hand done, man. I think, like I said, they might have got around to it, but because what we have found, or Ryan has found with trying to convert some of these, other programs to cartridges, they do different things. You have to make the boot code different for different programs.
Yeah.
Yes, but I remember the system variables inside the cartridge of the 1510 with this, I don't remember, it's the block size and the copy destination address. It's very, very similar in different cartridges, the structure of the load is very, very similar.
Well, I mean, it's really, you don't run it from the cartridge like you do in the 1000 or the 2068. You actually just copy the code into the RAM and run it from there. The cartridge is just holding the data. You don't run anything from the cartridge in the 1000 in the 1510. So it doesn't work that way.
Exactly, you copy the system variables plus the program. Yeah.
Well, some programs don't need system variables. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's kind of what we found. Is some programs, you're right, you do need to copy the system variables
Yeah.
over there, otherwise it won't work. And that's what Ryan found out. And so, you have to, like for 3D Monster Maze, you don't. It's all machine code, so I guess it doesn't really care about the system variables. or flight simulator for that matter too.
The mystery if you use a CX81 to develop this game or not.
Yeah.
What's that?
The mystery is how you develop this game, for example, if in machine code 100%, if you create or compile in the same machine, you are crazy.
Well, like I said, Ryan came up with his program that kind of converts P files into a ROM file, so you can use them. You can cartridge, i.e., cartrify them, and so it kind of looks at the program, sees if it needs fire variables, blah blah blah. It creates a boot code.
In the end, it basically was just putting together all four of the examples to cover things, but in the end, it was just doing it how they were doing it, where you copying from the ROM area to the RAM, but I did it in the way that the P file is loaded from tape, in that sense that I just store all the P file data in the ROM using the conventions they did, and then do the inits that you need. And then it copies it in and basically as if it had loaded it from tape. And that works for most everything, except the exception is things that require two P files.
Oh, yeah.
In a sequence. So that would be a future enhancement potentially to capture those few games that do that.
Hey, I want to interrupt you guys for a sec, real quick. Stuart, do you want to give a little plug for your request for testers for this CX81 USB keyboard?
Yeah, so this is a project I started probably a couple of years ago, and I built a prototype to fit in a ZX81 case. And it's for just using with the Jetty One emulator website, although it probably has uses with other emulators. I have ZX81 emulators. But anyway, I got to thinking back then that there was, well, I thought for a long time, there's no real reason for me to tie this thing into the format of a ZX81 case, other than for the nostalgia. You make it look like a ZX81, but you're really looking at the screen of your computer or your laptop, for the output. So I redid it, and I can share your screen for 2 minutes and show you what it looks like. But the main thing is I never really played that much with Timex software, especially the games, So I really don't know how well the 4 arrows on a Timex keypad, worked with the various games. So I'm looking for like somebody who actually liked to play with the software to run it through its paces and give me a little feedback on it. For example, I don't know, does every single game for the ZX81 that uses the up-down arrows, every time you hit an arrow, you get a single entry, or is there any software that if you hold down the arrow, the software is actually scanning the keyboard and getting a repeat function out of it? That's one question.
I can tell you one thing stored on that 3D Monster Maze. If you do hold down the key, you'll keep moving forward.
Oh,
so it is scanning. It's not just you push the key and it just moves you one. If you hold the key down, you keep going forward or sideways or whatever.
You would get the same thing if you wrote a basic program and used the in key function.
true.
So I have to basically, to be compatible for those games to function in a somewhat similar manner, I have to put in a repeat function for those arrow keyboards that I do not have in my code right now. In other words, right now, you hit the arrow, all the keys on my keyboard are treated equally. You get a key set.
The repeat is a software function. It's not hardware. the software of the ROM create a repeat.
I
Only
know,
the
but
keyboard is, yes. Oh, no.
yes, but it has direct access to the X and Y of the, and when through my keyboard, they don't, so
Right.
anyway, so I have to figure out, I don't know, I just have
Well,
to,
how does, I
I was
guess
just
the
looking for
question,
some like beta people to assess the shortcomings of my codes and make suggestions on that. So I don't know if anybody likes playing with an emulator. Basically, I've been selling the Ginger Electronics tactile keyboard from Germany just as replacement keyboards on eBay, and to my amazement, the market never saturates. It just sells steady for 2.5 years, and it's like you would think that everybody who wanted one saw it and bought it, but it just keeps going. I
I
sell
keep
them.
referring people to you, Stuart.
Yeah,
I
it
see
must
I
be
see
you
people
then.
posting on Reddit, and I'm like, yeah, go get this thing from.
Yeah, I mean, it probably sold, I don't know,
He's got to
200.
cut you in for 50% then. That's what it sounds like to me.
So anyway, it's something to think about if anybody likes to play with that. I'll share your screen for just 2 minutes. I know
Yeah,
you're
go ahead.
going time, and I'll show you what it looks like. Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Okay, how do I do that? Share screen, entire screen. Okay,
you have to
so
say computer first.
yeah,
Computer, share screen.
Mhm. Make me a cup of tea.
let's see. I In was in looking in around. Scotty's voice, right?
Yeah. Is that Star
So
Trek
here,
4? Is that what that is?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so is this being shared?
Not yet. You may
Uh,
need to click another button.
I thought, oh yeah,
Yeah, I know Stuart sent me one too. So I have one. I just haven't had time to get I mean, I looked at it, but I haven't had time to
yeah.
play with it. And because
So,
I got those composite mod boards from you, and I still need to catch up with you to pay you for those.
oh yeah, right. I didn't want to get paid till 2026, and it's
Right.
2020.
Oh my God.
So it's a tax thing. I try to end my corporation not making a profit, so I figure it out to the last second. Anyway, for tax purposes. So this is what the Ginger Electronics keyboard looks like before the membrane's on it. Okay, the back of it looks like this.
Mm.
Um, and it's got these two little printed circuit boards at the end, which really makes it nice if you have to insert it and take it out and insert it for some crazy project. And
Yeah.
then when you start with this, basically this thing here, the way he attaches the membrane to it, and actually I do it. I get the parts separately. I attach the membranes. So we just put this 3M tape, double sticky tape around the periphery and slap the keyboard, the membrane, the flexible thing on top of it. You end up with that. And that's what I ship. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a box approximately the size. This is actually a standard box I found in China. So it's like $2 and $1 to ship it and customs and stuff. So it cost me like $3. It's a box that's like a waterproof electronics box, electric outlet box. People would tie junctions of wires together, and it's actually got a little spaghetti rubber seal gasket from the top to the bottom. It's waterproof. So I find that I drill an opening to pass the keyboard ribbon cables through and 4 holes for screws to mount a printed circuit board. So that's what the top looks like. And then this is the printed circuit board mounted at the bottom. That's the bottom. I also, this has been a great opportunity to play with my CNC router at my makerspace, cutting the lids and stuff. It's ABS plastic. So I cut these little lids here there's an Arduino here. There's a connector for a ribbon cable to a joystick. There's a reset button and a buzzer. In case you want to make the keys a little
Oh, is
tactile.
that what that? I know the one you sent me has a like a DB9 on it. I thought that was a serial port. That's a
No,
joystick port.
that's a joystick port.
Oh, okay. That's good
But
to know.
again, following the discussion that people are talking about, if the games are scanning the keyboard, I have to figure out. I mean, I can put in an auto repeat function, but the game will
Well,
probably not accept it. So
Stuart, since you've made it, the thing is, you've made it a USB keyboard for emulators on the computer, right?
yeah,
So it's sending key codes to the computer. The emulators, you know, however I'm not sure how the emulators handle the held down keys, but they're just going to be reading a USB keyboard as well. So I
I
don't
know.
think
I
there's
just
any.
got to look into the details of how they're handling it and try to make them as happy as, and find out how happy the games have been with their approach. Yeah, are they all happy? Or,
Well,
Anyway,
what I mean is that the emulator is going to have to is the one doing the work to emulate to read the keyboard in such a way that if the key's held down, it simulates holding it down on the membrane keyboard.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess other than you supporting maybe the different scanning methods that a regular USB keyboard supports, I suppose that would be what you would have to do.
Yeah, I have to look into that. I know you can also generate key up and key down
Right.
Right.
codes
That's what I
separately.
was going to jump in and say. Yeah, with the
So
USB
I
keyboard
have to explore
protocol,
that. Yeah, I have to
yeah,
explore
you
all
have
that stuff.
scan codes with key up and key down. And if
That
there's
might,
no key up, then it'll just repeat. It should just repeat. But you're right.
yeah.
How's the emulator going to handle that?
Yeah, there's definitely some testing that has to go into that. Anyway, this is what the board looks like. And then this is how okay, that's the board. Then this is the bezel with double sticky tape that I 3D print. That's going to go around the board. And that's the front of it.
Looks like a license
It
plate.
does look like a license plate holder.
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah, it does. At any rate, it's the first time I ever did two color printing, but they have a feeder for multiple colors on the 3D printers at my makerspace, so that was fun. And
I would
then
want one of those Hemi powered.
yeah,
Sorry,
and
go
then
on, Stuart.
and here's the tape, double sticky to tape the keyboard in the middle of it, and that's what it looks like roughly, And, anyway,
There's no mistaking who makes it, and there's no mistaking what system it's for.
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. And I was going to call it an emulator keyboard, but I decided it's the X81 keyboard. Could be reprogrammed for other things, I guess. I don't know. But, and also that, I mean, maybe there should be a Raspberry Pi with the entire emulator inside of the box. I really don't know. So the box is actually tall. Yeah. And after you put the top on, this keeps you from cutting your fingers on the edge of this sharp membrane, and it also protects the keyboard, the frame, and it also makes it fit the box. And then the keyboard goes through, and to make it to fit in there, you do a little right angle with it. There's one revision. My length calculations were slightly off. There's a second rev to the board actually already that handles that, make it a little neater. And actually, I made it actually fits in the lid, which is about a ½ inch tall. But anyway, the box happens to be more like 2 inches tall. So here's what the form factor is. And it actually ends up being, you can hold it kind of comfortably like a game controller. I was actually thinking of like putting buttons on the top for like joystick, like turning it into a controller. If it turns out that it works well with games, I don't know. Anyway, that's my story. So if anybody amongst you happens to be that kind of a person, let me know. And I'm starting to make a few of them. Yep.
That looks really
anyway, or the other question is, which of the various Facebook, there's what, 3 different Sinclair user groups whatever they call them on Facebook groups, which one is the most appropriate to ask who wants to play with one of these things, who's a game fanatic?
With the small changes, you can use the same layout for the 2068 because it's similar. It's 8-bit scanning, 8 rows, and 5 bits on input. You can use the same structure to adapt your keyboard to the 2068.
Oh, and which emulator site would I plug it into?
A lot.
There's lots of 2068 emulator sites. Okay.
Yeah, Fuse and Zisorix and stuff. No, there's not a website that emulates the 2068, but there are there are emulators that run on Windows and Mac and Linux.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's, yeah. So what I'm going to do is, I like playing with the toys at the makerspace, I think, more than I like playing with the time and stuff almost. Yes, I definitely do. Today I was CNCing PC boards
Oh
on
my
a
gosh.
milling machine. So I should build a website that's very open for contributions and try to put a community about it on it who will do to make the best use of my hardware. I think that's my conclusion. Thank you all for listening.
Oh,
Thank you, Stuart.
Okay. Our next meeting, theoretically, would be February 15th. That's the third Sunday of the month because the first Sunday fell on the first. Having said that, the following Sunday is February 22nd, which some of us may recall as a day that will live in infamy within the Timex world. February 22nd, 1984 was the date.
Cancel Timex.
There you go.
Oh,
So,
really?
do you want to meet on
So
the
let's
15th?
definitely have it on that day. We can
On the
celebrate that we're still
22nd?
around.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
let's do
February
that.
22nd, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And Adam, since you wanted to know if there was an agenda, I will come up with an agenda of mourning.
Oh,
Should we wear
well,
black?
I'm set. Okay.
We're
Exactly,
already
right,
wearing
right.
black.
And right, you need to wear black, right? There's a dress code. Uh, you need to bring your memories of you know, betrayal and frustration and disappointment. And
Actually,
we'll,
I think you might be saying that in jest, but I would be interested to hear how many people here knew right away that happened. I mean, people. I mean, I guess we can talk about this in the
yeah,
next
yeah,
meeting,
no,
but most people didn't
absolutely. We
know.
will we will spend an inordinate amount of
Yeah.
time.
Most people didn't
Just
know on the 22nd. Like that had happened, right? So it probably took months
It
before
it,
people
it came out.
realized.
No. It came out pretty
No.
quick because
it
of the
did.
Did it?
community.
The New
Yeah.
York Times published it.
this
Oh,
investigate it was
I've never
Friday
heard of that. What is that?
or Monday.
Exactly. Who knows
So,
what that is?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The Pony Express took a while to get it to me.
To get it to Fort Worth. Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, 22nd. I will change that for this, very special ignominious occasion.
Okay, great. That's cool that you thought of that.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, see you in actually that's 4-ish weeks, I think. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. See you then.
This was a
Okay.
lot of fun. Thank you,
Yeah,
David.
always
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
thank you.
This was a fun meeting.
I'm glad you guys, took it and ran with it. That's what I want to happen. Yep.
You're
All right.
brilliant.
All right, bye
Talk
guys.
to you guys.